Good morning, everyone. Thank you for having us here today. My name is Bessie Corrales. I'm the Senior Manager of Sales for the Home Financing team at Scotiabank. We're here today to add some value to you. We appreciate all the support that you have given to us. I'm here today with Rong Liu and Liru Ding. Both of them are home financing advisors with Scotiabank. They're going to speak to you a little bit later on about some of the value that they add to partnering with the real estate agents within the office here. We've received tremendous support. You can speak to some of the agents that they are currently partnering with, and I'm sure that you'll get great feedback with regards to turnaround times, approvals, and just making the process of purchasing a home very smooth for your clients. We have brought with us today Olga from Cmhc. She's going to do a presentation for you today, and hopefully you'll find some great value in that. So without further ado, I don't want to hold you up, but we're going to have Olga come up and do her presentation, and then Rong and Liru will add some value as well. And I'm assuming people will just come in as they are, and they can just have a seat. We have some water over here on the side for you, and at 12 noon, close to 12 noon,
11:30-ish.
About 11:30, we're going to have some pizza come in for lunch. All right? Okay, thank you. Anybody have any questions for me? No? We're good? Okay, Olga, take it away from Cmhc.
Okay, perfect. Well, thank you very much. Always a pleasure to partner up with Scotiabank and come to real estate offices like yours and give a little bit of information about something that Cmhc does for our partners. That includes the realtors and the mortgage specialists. And today, the topic is leveraging social media for home buying consumers, for consumers that are looking to finance their homes, buy their homes, and how you can participate in social media the best way in order to attract more home buyers, and in order to really understand what is it that drives them and how they research information. So my topic today is based on the 2017 Mortgage Consumer Survey, which is something that Cmhc does every single year. A new one for 2018 is coming around the end of May, beginning of June. So this one's based on last year's survey. And we are now, because social media is such a big part of how consumers research information, we are now focusing with specific questions to home buyers about how they research. Do you go to social media? Do you go to the internet? What do you find valuable? What do you not find valuable? And therefore, the presentation today will give you hopefully some of the insights. So that'll be the first part of the presentation. Will be some of the data from the survey, so that you understand what consumers are looking for and how they research. And then the second part of the presentation is something that I'd like to share with you. And there are two strategies. One is called a passive social media strategy, and one is called an active social media strategy. The passive one will be for those of you that are maybe just starting in social media, you're maybe not sure how, you maybe don't think you have time, or even for anyone really that's in the room, because it allows you to participate in social media without having to be too concerned on how to do it and where to do it, and etc. And the active social media strategy will be for those of you that are looking to be present on social media, to actively post. And we'll talk about how to post, when to post, how often, where to find information. Okay, a little bit more of a hands-on. So at Cmhc, aside from being the senior account manager that takes care of Scotiabank, I'm also something called a social media ambassador. So we have one in every province at Cmhc, and we really get together to understand the trends on social media as it relates to home buying and home financing. So hopefully I'll be able to provide you with some perspective on the topic today. So the beginning of the presentation, I'd like to give you sort of a little bit of background as to how the survey is done, so that you understand the value of the information that I'll share with you. So the survey talks to about 3,000 respondents across Canada. They all have to have either bought a house or gotten a mortgage or refinanced at least a property. And what I'd like to bring your attention to is the fact that today, when we conduct a survey, it's done online, right? And I'm sure you guys are used to that as well. You probably get, a receipt from a restaurant, and at the bottom it says, please fill out a survey online, go online, get a coupon. That's just how surveys are done today, because it's a really easy way to reach a lot of people. Because we spend a lot of times on our phones, we spend a lot of times on the internet, and it's just a very easy way to access a really wide group of an audience, right? So same thing with our survey. In the past, we didn't used to have an online survey. We used to have calls. outbound call center. They would call people, and if you picked up the phone, they would ask you questions. Sometimes you would hang up on us, right? But that's what they would do. And it was a lot harder to reach a lot of people. So, before we get into a lot of the data, I'd like to play a game with you guys as well. Do you have your cell phones? Yeah? If you can take out your cell phones and log into your browser, so Safari, Google, whatever it is, and go to this website, kahoot.it. It's a game, and we'll play it throughout the presentation, so you guys don't fall asleep on me. It's fun if you participate, so if you have a phone, go for it, because you'll have a lot of fun. So put in kahoot.it, you'll come to a page, it'll tell you to put in a game pin, okay? Stop there, and I'll give you the game pin. So kahoot.it, and my game is right here. And the pin will be right here on the screen. Just give it a sec. Right there. There's your game pin. 1765847. So put that in your game pin on your phone. And if you do that, it'll ask you for a nickname. Then put in your name and you'll show up over here. So we'll know who's playing and who's winning. I'm sure you guys are competitive, right? A little bit? Maybe. It's just for fun, okay? But you'll learn a lot of information through it as well. I have a lot of good questions in here. So you have about 6 people. Let's see how many of you will log in. And then we'll get started. I'll give you a minute. The way this game works is if any of you go to the movies, they play a game called Time Play at the movie theater. So they ask you questions on the big screen, and then you have to answer on your phone. That's how this is going to work. So I'll ask you questions, you're going to have answers here, and then you'll answer on your phone. And the faster you answer, and the more correct you are, you're going to get points. Huge prize at the end, huge. I'm from the government, don't forget. Okay, about 9 of you. Anybody else trying to get into the game? Or we're good to go? Okay. All right, now, also, I always like to tell everyone this is a free game, and you get what you pay for. So sometimes it crashes, so we'll deal with it and we'll move on, okay? When it works, it's great. So I'll ask you the first question, just so you guys can learn how to play it, okay? So the question's going to come up on the screen. The answers will be on the screen in different colors, and then you vote for the color of the right answer on your phone. Let's do it. So the first question is, what is social media? And here are your potential answers. Either an online advertisement, online communities sharing information, a networking event, or an online survey. Press the color that you think is the right answer on your phone. So whichever one of these 4 you think is correct, you press that on your phone and that's your answer. Okay? So you have 10 seconds. And it's going to tell us what the majority thought, and it's also going to show you the right answer, so you know how to play it. Okay, here we go. This is what it looks like. So the right answer is social media are online communities sharing information. Most of you got it correct. A couple of you thought it was a networking event. So a little note here. An online advertisement, a networking event, or a survey can all be hosted on social media. You can have a survey on Facebook. You can have an online advertisement on Twitter. You can have a survey on Instagram, okay? But really, social media is all about sharing information in a community, okay? So that's how it's played. This is your leaderboard. Lucy is winning, whoever that is. Congratulations for now. And then we'll keep playing, okay? So, don't put your phones away. So the next question is going to come back to what I just said at the beginning. Remember I said we're using an online survey now for our mortgage consumer survey. In the past, we used to make phone calls. And with the survey online, we have 3,000 respondents, right? When we used to make phone calls, we only got 800 respondents. It was a very low number because it took such a big effort to get 800 responses. So your question is, how many calls do you think we made to get 800 responses? How many calls do you think we had to make? 1,000, 5,000, 200,000, 12,000. What do you think? How many calls did we have to make to get 800 responses? Sorry.
Olga, is it based on time response? Like how fast you respond?
How fast and how correct?
So
yes.
How fast?
Here we go. So the answer is over 200,000 phone calls. We had to make over 200,000 phone calls to just get 800 responses. So some of you thought it was 5,000, a couple thought it was 3, a couple thought it was 200,000, and one thought it was 12. So why I like to show you this particular statistic, this question, is to get you the mindset, into the mindset of old versus new. How things used to be done, how things were effective in the past, because that's the tools we had, versus what are the tools that we have today. And for you, as realtors who are self-employed, who are looking to market yourselves and advertise yourselves, it's to put you in the mindset of what works today. How do you reach the widest audience? And we're here to talk about social media, and hopefully it'll give you the opportunity to include social media in your marketing, aside from, you know, the advertisement on the bus bench or on the bus or on the billboard, etc. Because to reach the widest audience, the easiest way for least amount of cost is social media. Okay, that's why we're talking about it today. We have a new leader, and we'll continue playing. So put your phones away, but don't turn them off. Just let them go to sleep. We'll come back. We'll go back and forth between my presentation and the game. Okay. Let's see if this works easily. Please do. And yes, excellent. So let's talk about some of the information from the survey first. So as I mentioned to you, we are now asking consumers about how do you conduct research when it comes to home buying and home financing. You will see on the screen a lot of the information talks about mortgage consumers, but I can promise you my speaker's notes also talk about real estate experience, so home buying. So when I say home buying and home financing, it's also meant for home buying consumers that directly affect you. So over 3/4 of consumers will research home buying and home financing online. Probably not the biggest surprise for you, is it? Because how do you research information today? Do you go online to research stuff? Do you go on Google, or do you open a phone book, right? Or is your phone book online? So it's not a big surprise that consumers research online. However, look at the fact that 25% of consumers will still research, a quarter will still research offline. What that means is they will book a meeting with you, they'd like to sit down and meet you in person before they know or learn anything else about you. And same goes for their financing solution, so they'll go and meet Liru or Rung before they do any research about mortgages, right? Who do you think these people are? Who is that quarter? Who do you think that could be? Pardon?
Older people.
Older people, yes, absolutely. That's a big group that falls into the 25%. However, what I'd like you to keep in mind is that just because people get older or seniors, that doesn't mean they're not on social media. It's the largest growing demographic on social media are older people. Largest growing demographic, specifically on Facebook. Okay? And we'll talk about the different social media platforms in a minute. So it could be older people, yes. It could also be brand new newcomers to Canada. They're just not quite sure which websites to use, where to go do a lot of online research, so they go with a referral and face-to-face meeting. So in that quarter, it could be older demographic and also brand new newcomers to Canada. Now, this next statistic talks about information, talks about how consumers research home buying and home financing on their devices. So we asked them, do you use your phone, or do you use your tablet, or do you use a computer to research information? Why we ask the question is it depends on how you market yourself. If you decide you're going to have a website, okay, which I'm sure many of you will, or some of you may develop an app, things like that. This is where it shows you how do consumers research home buying and home financing. So about a third, 30%, will research on a tablet or on a phone, because it's a great number and it's a growing number, but it's still not a really high number because a lot of websites don't look very good on a phone. It's called they're not mobile optimized. So as websites change, for example, Cmhc, our website is changing completely in the next month. And we're getting rid of our app, we're getting rid of a whole bunch of microsites that we have online, because we're changing it to look really good on your phone, so it becomes like an app on your phone. It'll be really easy to research on a phone or a tablet, okay? Also, as our phones get smarter, right, and they do, every month they get smarter than we are, so they also make it easier for us to research information. But most clients will still do the research on a computer in the comfort of their home. They think home buying, home financing is a very important, large decision, so they'll sit down with their husband, with their wife, with their spouse, partner, and they will do the research on a computer, okay? Hello, did I step on the cable? There we go. Took a break. Okay. Now, we talked about, we asked consumers, so you go to research home buying and home financing online, where do you go? 50%, half of them will go on a lender site. Scotiabank, for example. They'll go on the Scotiabank site and they'll research information about home buying and home financing. 42% will go on an interest rate comparison site, like a rate hub. Have you heard of rate hub? Where customers compare interest rates? And then you have about 20% over here in the middle that will research information on broker sites, mortgage industry association, real estate agency sites like yours, and mortgage loan insurers like mine. So when I see a slide like this, I always like to think about my audience, about you, and I like to think, okay, what does that mean for you? So if you know that you don't have a lot of visitors researching on your website, it's a good opportunity for you to promote it more, right? Because you need to direct the consumer to land on your site. So we're going to talk about an active social media strategy, right, at the second half of my presentation. That's a great opportunity to put out a post on social media, wherever you're going to be active, and say, hey, come check out my website. I have really good quality information. Okay? This is an opportunity slide for you. Speaking of opportunities, we ask consumers, okay, so you go on a site, what do you do there? Third of the consumers will fill out a pre-approval form. So they'll try to get pre-approved for a mortgage. Half of them will do a financial self-assessment, like a budget, to understand what they can afford in the long run. 3/4 will use an online mortgage calculator to really figure out how much a house is going to go for, how much a house will carry for. These are all tools that are absolutely essential to the home buying and home financing process. So the question again for you, and the opportunity is, do you have these tools? Or do you know someone who does? Like your partners today at Scotia. They have these tools, they're credible, they're valuable tools that you can trust. Otherwise, the consumer is going on the internet, wherever, looking up calculators and financing tools and pre-approval forms, and they may or may not be real. They may or may not be true. And the consumer will tell you, I qualify for $800,000. And you'll go find them a house only to figure out at the end that they only qualify for $600,000, and we have a problem, right? So to have the customer land on a really good tool is very important. That's why you have great partners like Scotia here today. The other question that we asked customer, I call this the scary slide, because we asked the customer how comfortable they are with technology to do some of these things by themselves, without you. And that's a scary slide, because 40% of consumers say they're comfortable enough with technology to arrange an entire mortgage transaction without face-to-face meeting with a mortgage professional. Also, at the same time, we have my speaker's notes say it's the same for realtors. 40% of consumers are comfortable enough with technology to arrange a home buying transaction without face-to-face meeting with a real estate professional. You know, consumers that are selling for sale by owner and COM-free and this and that, they think they don't need us. They think, oh, we can do this on our own. We have Google, we have all these websites, we can figure it out by ourselves. The problem with this is that there's so much noise and garbage on the internet, is that you never know where the customer got the information. And those are the clients that will sometimes call you 3 days before closing and they panic because they realize they were wrong. So it's very important for a professional, whether it's a financial or financing professional or a real estate professional like you, to understand this is the mindset of the consumer and to educate them on why you bring value to the transaction. And how you educate your client really is by other clients giving you really good reviews, because that's how consumers like this validate information. So I'll pause here because that's what we're kind of going to talk about today. These customers, remember how I asked you the customers that do offline research, who do you think they are, and you said they're older? Who do you think these people are? The ones that can do everything online by themselves. Who do you think they are? The opposite, right? They're younger. They're the millennials, right? So they're the younger generation that thinks everything is available to them online. They don't need a professional because they can figure this out on their own. And where do you think they get advice? Where do you think these young people get advice?
Online.
Online. From their friends. From their friends, right? Millennials trust their friends more than their family. Okay? They get all of their validation from social media. They ask questions to their friends. Hey, does anybody know how to do this? Right? And they believe what the friends say more than what you say. Right? So, that's important to understand, because if you're dealing with a customer that's that young, you have to speak their language. And to speak their language means that if you have good reviews and good testimonials on your website, on your social media site, then those customers are going to see them and going to say, oh, other people like me think that you're a really good realtor, so I'm going to go with you. Okay? That's how they think. So that's what we're talking about that today, is to put you in the mindset of this type of consumer. Speaking of influence, this is all the people that talk to your client when they're buying and financing a home. And this is how they weigh, like, see the weights, the percentages? This is how important these people's opinions are. So first of all, it's awesome that 72% are realtors. That's great. So your opinion matters, and I'll show you one more slide where it really showcases how valuable you are. But what's really important is you got family and you have friends. So this is what I would call the noise slide. This is the noise around your client. So you're talking to your client, you have a good connection, you're speaking to them about what they want, you're providing to their needs, and yet this is still happening around your client. They go to out with their friends, they talk, they hear things. They go and talk to their mom and dad, they go, no, go see my guy. My guy's better than your guy. Go see them. Right? This is all the noise around your client. And it's important to understand that. It's not just you and the client in the bubble, but it's all of that noise. And depending on the age of the client, the influence is different. Right? It could be family, could be friends, could be coworkers, could be professionals. Okay? Speaking of, here's the value process. So the customer says the real estate agent is the most valuable professional in the home buying process. That's fantastic. That's great. They say you're knowledgeable, they say you're trustworthy, right? And they say you're dependable, which is amazing. Here on this slide, I like to suggest that you have a great partnership with Scotiabank. You have a great partnership with your home financing professionals. They can provide you with a lot of that information to help you stay the most valuable person in the process, because they're the ones that bring information about the new rates, about the new qualifying process, about the new rules, and they can guarantee that a client can actually afford the house that you're showing them. So it's very important to understand what makes you be the most valuable person in the process, right? And you have really great partners to help you stay there. So now we're moving into social media. So we're going to talk about customers researching home buying and home financing on social media. So we moved from internet in general to social media. So we're on Facebook, we're on WeChat, we're on WhatsApp, we're on Instagram, Snapchat, wherever. Okay? So about a third of consumers, 35%, are researching home buying and home financing on social media. Okay? It's a growing number, and for 2018, we already know it's going to be higher. I just don't have the exact number, but it's going up again. Okay? Now, I'd like to share with you what kind of client are you going to meet on social media? Because sometimes people ask me, oh, is it going to be a waste of my time? These people are not serious. Like, is it really the kind of client that I should worry about? So here it is. Customers on social media that are researching home buying and home financing are typically first-time home buyers. Okay? It means, what does that mean to you? A first-time home buyer, a happy first-time home buyer, will be a second-time home buyer and a third-time home buyer and hopefully a customer for life. So if you think that's a valuable client, then it's probably worth it for you to go after them. You're also looking for customers or meeting customers that are under 35. Probably not a big surprise. We're on social media, so yes, we're dealing with millennials most of the time. Okay? And we're also dealing with a customer that's university or post-grad educated. And my favorite part is we're dealing with a customer that makes about $100,000 a year. So put it all together. You have a first-time home buyer, under 35, university educated that makes about $100,000 a year. Is that the kind of client you would like to meet? Is that a qualified client? Can they afford to buy a house? What if there's 2 of them? Makes it even better, right? If it's a couple. So it is definitely a good qualified client. That's what we found from the research on social media. Now, just to make you really sure that this is worth your while, Ontario is definitely the leading province in research on social media. And we'll talk a little bit about more how Canadians research information on social media. Also, you have a big percentage, 43%, that are born outside of Canada. These are your new immigrants. These are your newcomers to Canada that are researching information on social media, and of course also those that are born in Canada will research information here. So, back to your phones. Let's go back to our game. Those of you that came in a little later, you can just play in your head. So let's talk about the different kinds of social media platforms and what they're all about. All right, so what do you think is the largest social media platform in the world? Twitter, Facebook, WhatsApp, or WeChat? What do you think has the most users in the world?
Twitter.
Yeah, it is Facebook. Absolutely. Anybody know how many users Facebook has in the world? Anybody want to guess?
So 1.5 billion.
Close.
Yeah.
About 2.2. Okay, for now. Who knows with the scandal? Maybe some people will leave. The largest growing demographic on Facebook are older people, seniors. Young people, millennials, do not go on Facebook. Okay? If you're looking to attract millennials, Facebook is not the platform to do that. Do you know why millennials don't go on Facebook?
They don't have time.
Yes, maybe. But why don't they like Facebook? Who is on Facebook? Their parents. Their parents, exactly. So millennials don't go on Facebook because mom and dad are on Facebook. They don't want to be doing all their stuff on Facebook, right? They don't want to see it. Millennials are on Snapchat, Instagram, right? Twitter, not really popular at all. Maybe for Donald Trump. Right? Twitter is losing popularity. It's definitely not growing. Any of you know WhatsApp?
Yeah.
It's more of a chat platform. Very popular in India and becoming even more popular around the world now. And it's also starting its small, like what they're called closed groups. So it's starting to behave more like a social media platform rather than just a chat. Okay, so it's definitely growing. About 800 million users on WhatsApp. Huge numbers. I'm pretty sure you guys know WeChat. Depending on who my audience is, I know it's either going to be a yes or a what's that? So WeChat, called Chinese Facebook, right? People call it that. Definitely a huge growing platform. It's about 1 billion users now. So that is where anybody that's really from China, Hong Kong, Taiwan, Taipei, wherever you might be coming from in Asia, you're probably going to be on WeChat. Am I right?
Yeah.
So your clients will probably be on WeChat as well. So for you to publish, information on Twitter or on Facebook may not be the right fit for you. Really, what I would like to bring across here is it's your choice. I'm not here to tell you which social media platform is the best. It depends on who you are. Yesterday, I was in Scarborough. It was a completely different room. WeChat was not in the conversation. Okay? Today, I'm pretty sure WeChat is your choice of social media, so that's amazing. That's where you should be doing your business, because that's where you reach the widest audience. Remember the 800 phone calls? The 200,000 phone calls reaching 800 people, or online reaching 3,000? You're going to reach a lot more of your target audience on WeChat than you would ever on Facebook, right? So really, the choice of platform is up to you. Okay, we have, Ada is on fire. That's great. Next question. Where do you think Canada ranks in use of social media? So this is, how many people in Canada do you think are on social media? It's a percentage of our population. Do you think we are number 1, we're number 13, 247? Where do you think we are in the world when it comes to using social media? Do you think Canadians use social media or not? So here we go. The answer is 13. So most of you got that right. We used to be 20. Okay, we used to be top 20 in the world when it comes to how many people have social media accounts. So we're growing. We're climbing the ladder. And more Canadians are on social media. So why I'm telling you this is so you feel comfortable that it's real. It's really happening here. Okay? It's not something that Canadians are not into. We're definitely into social media. All right, we still have Ada on top. And next question. Where does Canada rank in engagement or activity in social media? How active are we? Do we like, do we share, do we post, or do we just have an account and do nothing? Where do you think we are in the world when it comes to activity or engagement on social media? What do you think? Mr. Water. So most of you thought we were top 5, and then some of you joined me in the top 20, which is where we are. So depending on which report I read, which year you look at, we go anywhere between 15 to 22. 2 years ago, we were number 1. We were the most active country in the world on social media. So what happened? You know what happened? Indonesia happened. They joined social media, which they haven't had before. It was restricted. So when Indonesia opened the floodgates and everybody got an account, they all started to be really active because they could. So they bumped a whole bunch of countries down the ladder, including Canada. But it doesn't mean we're not active. This is out of 200 countries on the list. We are still in the top 20, which means we are incredibly active on social media. The Middle East opened their social media floodgates as well. So there's a lot of countries that join, and then it reshuffles everything, right? And when it's new, it's a little bit more active than when it's been around for a long time. So it's going to change again. But bottom line, we have accounts. Okay, social media is popular in Canada, and we're very active. We like, we share, we comment, we post. Okay? All right, Ada's on fire again. Awesome. All right, and finally, how many friends do you think Canadians have on Facebook on average? People say we're a friendly nation. What do you think? How many friends do you think we have? Are we as friendly as we think we are? That's the question. Look at that. Ooh! This is the first time anybody has ever answered mostly the right answer. Everybody always says 320. Good for you. Okay, so you're totally right. We have on average about 190 friends. But what does that really mean? So the world average of friends on Facebook is 120. So by Canadians having 190 friends, it makes us number 1. We have the most friends. We are the friendliest country in the world. Okay? So Canadians have the most connection. This is just Facebook, but it's all over social media. We have the most connections on social media. So again, why I showed this to you? Yeah, we're having fun with our game, but it's really to help you understand that in Canada, this is real. We have accounts, we're active, and we have a lot of connections. So if anything goes out on social media, it reaches a lot of people who are inclined to read it and like it and share it. Okay? All right, Ada is up there, and I don't know who's going to catch her. Okay, let's put our phones away for a minute and go back to my presentation. We'll come back to Kahoot in a minute. Let me just see if this comes back to life. Yes. So let's talk about the different platforms. Facebook, YouTube, blogs, forums, Twitter, and LinkedIn. Why is there no WeChat, and why is there no Instagram, and why is there no WhatsApp in here? It's because it's not popular for home buying and home financing research. This is the ranking of popularity, usage, and usefulness, as in value, of the different platforms for researching specifically home buying and home financing. This is not social media for fun. This is for researching home buying and home financing. Okay? So Facebook is the most widely used for research for home buying and home financing, followed by YouTube, blogs, forums, Twitter, and LinkedIn. The other ones that you don't see there didn't make it, okay? You have also the small graph, the skinny numbers here. They talk about the value. So you go on Facebook, 57% of consumers will go on Facebook, but when they're there, 71% of them will find it valuable. They'll actually find good information there, okay? Look at LinkedIn. Only 20% of people think about going to LinkedIn to research home buying and home financing, but when they do, boy, do they like it. There's a lot of good information there. LinkedIn is tied in second place with blogs, right after forums. So let me give you a little insight about what this means. Okay? So forums are leading the way in usefulness and value. Why? Do you know what a forum is? Anybody know what a forum is? A discussion, yeah. So it's a conversation space for individuals to talk about any given topic. You can have a forum on anything you want. You can make one tomorrow if you want to, okay? So a forum could be first-time home buyers in Markham, Chinese newcomers to Markham. It could be vintage car lovers of Woodbridge, whatever, okay? Anything, any topic that you want. If you create a forum, it means you think there's a topic that's interesting enough for other people to look it up. And if you go on Google, for example, and you research first-time home buyers in Markham forum, if there is one, it'll come up and you can join. And consumers will talk about their experiences. They'll ask each other questions. And why they think it's so very valuable is because it's not a platform that's owned by a company. There's no advertising. There's no sales on a forum. It's a safe place to have a discussion. Customers feel it's an objective place. It's a place where they can find good quality information with no bias. Okay? Forums are hard to penetrate for you guys because you can't really market yourselves there. All you can do is join the conversation, maybe kind of see what people are talking about, and then when you have your post on WeChat or Facebook or wherever you are, then you can actually address some of those issues that you saw on the forum. But it's really more for the consumer. That's why they like it. Followed by blogs and LinkedIn as the two tied in second place for value. Blogs are considered valuable because when somebody takes the time to write a blog, it's usually researched on a good topic, or you pay somebody to write a blog for you. So consumers enjoy reading that, and there's always a discussion after a forum, after a blog, like a mini forum that happens. So customers again find it very valuable. Now LinkedIn. We will talk about LinkedIn today because LinkedIn is considered one of the most valuable platforms, and yet many people think there's no point of going on LinkedIn to market your business. Many people think it's a job hunting site, right? It's where you go to find a job. Some people think it's just whatever you see there is people promoting themselves and that's it, like, so what's the point? However, if any of you are on LinkedIn, you will see that more and more people are advertising properties on LinkedIn. Have a house for sale, it goes on LinkedIn, professionals like you. And there's also a lot of really good, valuable information that helps you get referrals from other people in the business. And let's not forget your clients. Because are any of your clients professionals? Do any of your clients own their businesses? Right? Are any of them engineers and doctors? Do you think they're on LinkedIn? It's the world's largest professional networking site. So if you're a professional, you're probably on LinkedIn. And we'll talk about LinkedIn in a minute because it's the one platform we can all connect on. Because here I'm in a room where most of you are probably on WeChat. But if your customer is not on WeChat, how will you ever connect with your client on social media? Your client is on Instagram. They're never going to see your posts. You're never going to be able to comment on each other. So what are you going to do? What if your referral source is, where you get business from, is not on WeChat either? So it's hard because social media is supposed to connect us, but it's also very dividing. Because I'm not on WeChat, so you and I will never meet. But on LinkedIn, we can all meet because we're all professionals. And consumers go on LinkedIn because consumers say very simple things. LinkedIn is the world's largest professional networking site. You are a professional. You say you are a real estate professional. Customer says, okay, 1 + 1 is 2. Therefore, you should be on LinkedIn. And they go check you out on LinkedIn. They will go see, do you have a profile? Do you have a picture? Do you have history of where you worked before? Do you have experience? Do you have connections? What do you post? Because it's an easy place for a customer to go and research information about you without being creepy, without having to go on your personal site somewhere on social media, without having to ask too many people. It's an easy place for me to go research something about you, right? Because that's what it's for. So we'll talk about LinkedIn in a second. So that's the part of this presentation that talked about the why. All the information about social media that we have and how consumers research home buying and home finance. Now I'm moving into the strategy. So remember I promised you 2 strategies. One was going to be a passive strategy. One was going to be an active strategy. Let's start with the passive one. Do you guys know what this is? Yeah. Have you seen it before? TripAdvisor, world's largest referral site for hotels, travel, and restaurants. Okay? If I have a TripAdvisor logo here, that's just because it's one of the most widely known. But you could have your Google reviews here, you could have Yelp here, you could have Reddit here. Any site where you can post reviews about things is the same idea. This is where consumers go to validate information. That's a very important word in social media, validate. To check whether something is true. Okay? I can tell you from research on social media that consumers tend to believe what other consumers say more than what a brand says about itself. So, you work for a big brand, Home Life, known all over the world. Does Home Life market itself? Does it promote itself? Does Home Life do branding and advertisement, things like that? Yeah, absolutely they do. People know Home Life all over the world. But if Home Life says we're the best, how do I know that you're the really good realtor that I want to work with? Right? Home Life says we're all great, but how do I know that you're good? How I will know that you're good is other people are going to tell me, he's really good, you should deal with him. Okay? Home Life did some of that work for you, but it really comes down to you, and down to you, and down to you. And this is where we, as consumers, find that information. This is where we validate. We don't go on TripAdvisor and ask, is Riu a good hotel? We go and say, is Riu in Mexico on this beach a good hotel? We are specific, right? We don't go in here and say, is Kelsey's a good restaurant? We go, is Kelsey's in Maple a good restaurant? Same idea on a referral site for real estate or professionals. We don't say, is Home Life a good real estate company? We'll go and say, is she a good realtor? Because I need someone to work with. So we really bring it down and we validate the information from person to person. And the younger they are, the more they rely on this information, because this is the social media validation of their peers, because it's other people like you and me that I believe more than what the brand says, right? So it's the same idea on TripAdvisor. If you're going to go to a country you've never been to before, you want to try a new hotel, maybe you go on the hotel website, the hotel says they're great, they're won all these awards, they have the best beach, they have the best food, but how many of us believe that? How many of us say, okay, good, I'm going to book now? Very few of us do that. Most of us will go on a place like TripAdvisor and ask other people or search for other people to see if it's actually true, right? So, a passive social media strategy is based on that same notion of the fact that we like to share our experiences with other people. So, if we do a transaction together, what's your name? Vivian. So Vivian is going to be my client. Okay, I'm the realtor. I was a really good realtor, and Vivian is very happy, right? We closed the transaction. So typically I would ask Vivian as my client, Vivian, did you have a good experience? Did I help you with everything you needed? And Vivian will say yes because she's happy, right? And we all ask, right, if our customers are happy. That's the survey part, right? And normally I would say, Vivian, would you mind passing 3 or 5 business cards to friends and family if there's anybody that can use my services? And Vivian will say, yeah, because she's happy, right? Do you guys pass on business cards to clients? Yeah, or calendars or something, right? Pass on something. And you ask for business. We're all trained to ask for business, right? You have a happy client, you ask for a referral. What happens if I give Vivian 3 or 5 business cards? What do you think happens to the business cards? Yeah, be honest. What happens? What happens, Vivian, to the business cards? Do they go in the garbage? Maybe. In a bowl, right? In a bag. They don't get passed on to 3 or 5 people. Very, very rarely does that happen. even though she's really happy and I was really good, it just doesn't work anymore. So if I hand out 3 or 5 business cards, keep doing that, that's great. But it's like making 200,000 phone calls and getting 800 responses. Same idea. Here's a much easier way to get the word out that I was a good realtor. Vivian, were you a happy client? Did I satisfy your needs? Did I find what you're looking for? Did we do a good job? Thank you. Are you on social media by any chance?
Yes.
Okay. What are the chances she's going to say no? In Canada, we just learned about that, right? Very, very small. So she's probably going to say yes. Vivian, would you mind posting a recommendation about me on your social media profile? Thank you. Okay, so that wasn't hard, right? You probably heard it before, you've probably done it before, you've probably asked clients, would you mind posting a testimonial about me on my Facebook site, on my WeChat site? Would you mind going on my website and writing a recommendation? Have you done that before, right? Or people have asked you that before? Here's the problem with that. If you say, would you mind posting a recommendation about me on my WeChat profile? I can't do that, I can't understand what it says. Right? I'm not on WeChat, we don't have a connection. What if I say to you, would you mind posting a recommendation about me on my Facebook page? You'd be like, I'm not on Facebook, I can't do that. So we're limiting, again, remember it's supposed to connect us, but really sometimes we can't get in touch. So how did I ask the question? That's the important part. I said, Vivian, are you on social media? She said yes. I didn't ask her where. It doesn't matter. She just has to be on social media somewhere. If she says no, here's 3 or 5 business cards, thank you very much, right? That's all you can do. If she says yes, I don't care where. I didn't ask her what kind of profile she has. I said, would you mind posting a recommendation about me on your social media profile? All she has to do is go wherever she likes to connect with her friends and family and tell them that I did a really good job. That's a passive social media strategy because, first of all, do I have to be on social media for her to do that? No. Do I have to be on the same social media platform as she is? No. All she has to do is post a recommendation. Probably what I would do as a professional, maybe next day, I would send her an email and say, Vivian, thank you so much, again, for your business, and thank you for agreeing to post a recommendation about me on your profile. Just as a reminder, here is my contact information, so that I make sure she posts my name correctly, my email correctly, and my phone number correctly. Because if I'm not on her profile, nobody can connect with me there, but they can now have my number and my email. And if Vivian has, on average, 190 friends, she's going to tell them that I did a really good job. Her friends are going to validate that information in their head and go, Vivian says she's good, it must be good. Right? It's much better than me advertising somewhere that I'm number 1. But is it true? Vivian said it was true. That's great. That's much better. And on average, she's going to tell 190 people, that's way better than business cards that I will ever hand out. Right? That's why it's called a passive social media strategy. Everybody can do that. Because your clients already go on social media anyway. So you're giving them that little push. So why do we need a little push like that? Why do I have to ask? Because as Canadians, as nice as we are 30% more likely to post a negative review than we are to post a positive review. So let's say I was a really bad realtor. I did a horrible job. Vivian and I are not talking, okay? I'm not asking her if she was happy. But can I stop her from going on social media and telling people, do not ever deal with Olga, she's awful. She has no idea what she's doing, don't even go there. Can I stop her? No. She will tell people because she feels angry, it's painful. She wants to tell people to avoid this person. She's no good. But if I did a good job, think about the last time you had a good experience in a restaurant, good experience in a hotel, good experience with an electrician, with a painter, with whoever. Did you stop and write a review? Or did you just go, oh, that was nice, and you move on, right? That's what we do. It's not painful, it just feels good, right? So we need a little push. So asking the client, please go and post a recommendation about me on your social media, followed up with a little email with a reminder, is a fantastic way to reach a lot more people a lot faster. And it costs you how much money? 0, right? It's a really fast way to reach a huge audience. And it's asking the client to do something they already do anyways. Because how much time do we spend on social media, right? Okay. You may have clients that are private, that don't want to share, that they just bought a house. Happens, that's fine. Pass out business cards. This is just an additional strategy that we can all employ, right? All right, going into the active social media strategy. So now you're gonna be posting. You're gonna ask clients to post about you, which is great, but now you want to get your name out and become more active. So what do you post? Where do you find the information? How often? And all that good stuff. So, like I said before, it doesn't matter what platform we're on, because it really matters to you which one do you like, which one has the most of your connections on it, how can you make the biggest impact in your community. So here again is just a quick reminder of where mortgage and home financing consumers go. They go on Facebook, YouTube, blogs, forums, Twitter, and LinkedIn. So let's talk about LinkedIn. Take out your phones again, and I have a few more questions for you. Let's see what the crowd thinks about LinkedIn. So this is going to be a yes and no, really quick. Who has a LinkedIn profile? There's going to be a yes and no, so give me your answer. All right, so 6 of you have, 2 of you don't. Excellent. Who has a professional picture on LinkedIn? Okay, 5 of you have, perfect. And, ooh, we got a new leader. And who posts on LinkedIn regularly? And I wonder what it's going to look like. Look at that. Big change, huh? So, when I asked the question, Irving's in the lead. Okay. We'll come back here. I'll just have 2 more questions at the end. So just go back to my presentation. So when I ask people about LinkedIn, do you post, do you not post? For those of you that said you don't post regularly, what could be some of your reasons why not?
Because LinkedIn is just for the job searching, in my opinion. So
you might be thinking it's just for finding a job.
Yes.
So there's no value in posting anything else.
Yes.
Right? Good. Thank you. Anybody else? Why would you not post on LinkedIn regularly? Time.
Yeah.
Right? Don't know what to post, where to find information. Everything I see there is, people just talking about themselves, right? Okay. So very good answers, very common. And the reason why I bring it up, again, LinkedIn is one of those platforms that connects us all. And let's not forget, consumers expect you to be on LinkedIn. Because when they go on LinkedIn, they find it very valuable if they find good information there. So if they find you on LinkedIn and they see a professional picture, a professional, a nice headshot, they see all the information about what you have done in your career, how long have you been in business, what is your education. It's very important to our clients to see that. Also, they look at your connections, because that's how they can really quickly estimate how valuable you are in your business community. If you have a lot of connections, they consider you more experienced. They consider that you know more people, therefore you're more connected, therefore you're better at what you do. It's human psychology. It's very simple. If I go on LinkedIn and you have 200 friends and you have 1,000, you're going to be better at your job. It's just what it is. And consumers will go and check you out. I keep saying that, but it's very important to realize that. The consumers will go on LinkedIn. You'll get that little notification that says so-and-so has viewed your profile, right? That's okay, because that's what it's for. It's not a dating site, right? People are not checking out what you look like to go on a date. They're looking on LinkedIn to see, are you good at what you do? What have you done lately? And imagine if most people on LinkedIn, all they post is about them, right? Their picture, or they're looking for a job, then there's no value. But those people who post important information, good quality information, that's where the value is. Because that's where we can actually connect and I can see, wow, this person is a true professional. They really take time to post and share information with their professional community. And let's not forget, like I said before, your clients are professionals too, right? So they will be on LinkedIn, and they're not all looking for jobs, right? So let's talk about what to post. So this is the active strategy. The active strategy has something called the golden ratio of social media posting. It's not by Cmhc. We sourced it on the, online from social media selling professionals. And yeah, you guys are taking pictures. It's a good idea because this is a really good rule to keep in mind of any social media platform. This could be on WeChat, this could be on WhatsApp, on Twitter, on anywhere. This is how to get the most connections, the most likes, the most shares, and the most value on social media. So let's talk about that. 30% of everything you post should be owned information. That means brand, home life. 30% of everything you post should be about home life. This is how you connect yourself to your brand. You become your brand ambassador. Okay, so you have to like your brand to do that. If you like your brand, good news, your brand, specifically yours, already has this information. Home Life has a page on every social media platform that I know, and they post information all the time. So all you have to do, 3 times out of 10, is go on the Home Life page, on Facebook, on Twitter, on LinkedIn, or whatever, and re-like and re-share some of the information they already put out. You don't have to create it. Really easy, okay? Then we have a 60 and a 10. 60%, the majority of the information that you post on social media, should be what's called curated information. Curated information is collected from other sources. Curator in a gallery or in a museum is the person that collects the pictures and the statues for you to look at. So you are the curator in your profile on social media. You bring things to people to read that are interesting. So this is really where the hardest part of the work is, or that's what people think. I'm here to show you that it's not that hard. So curated information means you went somewhere else to search for articles, pictures, information that's interesting for your connections to read. We'll talk about what they are. Only 10%, 1 out of every 10 posts, are promotional or should be about you. This is where you tell people, I'm a realtor in this area and I'm really good at what I do. #1, award-winning, top choice, whatever you are, okay? The problem on social media is that most of the time these two get flipped. And 60% of the time, I hear, I'm the greatest, I'm the best, call me, call me, call me, email me, call me, email me. If that's all we see on LinkedIn, for example, because people think they're just looking for a job, how many times can I share and like the post that you're the best realtor in town, if I'm your connection? Once, twice, 3 times? But that's it, right? How many more times can I share your ad with my connections to get you more exposure? I can't do that every day. It's not interesting anymore after a few days, right? But if you only remind me once in a while, I'm good with that. If most of the time I'm getting good quality information from you, good articles, something good to read, I'm going to remember, wow, this person puts up really good articles. I'm going to go check out what they wrote or what they found this week, what they posted. So let's talk about this 60%, because that's really what gets people tripped up. Whoop! Tripped up. So what I like to do is share my experience with you. So while I'm social media speaker here, I am the social media ambassador at Cmhc, like I told you in the beginning. I am not very active on social media in my personal life. I don't really like it. Okay? It doesn't mean you have to be a guru on social media, right? I only have a Facebook account because that's how I connect with my mom. And I don't have Twitter. No, I do have Twitter, but not really well. But I don't have Instagram. I don't have Snapchat. I don't have whatever else people do these days. I just don't find it interesting for me. Now, I'm also not self-employed. Okay, I work for the government. But I do have LinkedIn. And I have over 1,000 connections on LinkedIn. And I post every single day. Okay? I also have Twitter for work, and we post all the time. So when I started this social media ambassador thing, and I was told you have to post every single day, you have to post regularly, people are going to depend on you, you have to show them, you know, how you do it. Okay. So I thought, wow, this is going to take forever. I thought the same thing you might be thinking. Where am I going to find information? Am I going to have the time to do it? This is going to be painful. So let me share with you that it's not painful at all. I go on Twitter, on LinkedIn every single day, and I post in my 60%, right? Now, also let's not forget, I have limitations because of where I work. I cannot post whatever I want. You guys are self-employed, it's a little bit different for you, it's easier. But for me, the 60% means I have to go find information that is interesting for you to read. Because if you're going to connect with me, you don't want to see Olga works at Cmhc and she's a senior mortgage, account manager. How is that interesting for you? It's not. But if I share articles that are interesting, you're going to like them and you're going to share them with people, right? So, where do I go? Every morning, I open my phone. I don't even go on my computer. I just do it on my phone. And while I have my coffee, I think about, I need to post on LinkedIn. Where am I going to find information today? First place I go to is Cmhc, because that's where I work. We post every single day. We post on Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, and YouTube. Okay? Cmhc, Canada Mortgage and Housing Corporation, we post information all the time. It's all about the housing market. It's all about the, sometimes economy information, right? We have information on pricing, on changing of the lender rules, etc., right? I post something from Cmhc almost every single day. You are free to like it and share it and post it again. If I go on Cmhc in the morning and there's nothing interesting, because even Cmhc doesn't always post interesting things, right? Or they're not relevant to me. Don't forget, we are Canada-wide, so if the information is from Newfoundland, I might not post it in Ontario. So I go to my next source. Where else can I find information? TREB, Toronto Real Estate Board. Great page, lots of good information. I can go to OREA, Ontario Real Estate Association. COREA, Canadian Real Estate Association. I can go to the Appraisal Institute of Canada. I go to my connections. I go to Scotiabank and I see what Bessie posted the last day. I have friends now at other places that post, I know one girl posts Motivational Monday, so if I have nothing else, I will go on her page on LinkedIn and I'll post a Motivational Monday poster. So what I have done as a curator, a collector, is I have made myself a list of good places that I know I will always find information. And all I have to do in that morning is find something to share from some of those sources. And I literally don't even have to go anywhere else. And now my connections know I will post something like that every day. Sometimes I don't have to post anything from other sources because I get to post something from what I've done on a day like today. So my post for today will be you. I will post a thank you to Bessie and to Liru and to Rong, and I will say thank you for having me today at Home Life Landmark. It was a wonderful opportunity to share information with the team today. Thank you so much for having us. I'll probably post a picture. And when I do that, you may think it's promotional, I'm promoting myself. No, it's considered curated information. Because who am I really promoting? I'm promoting my partners. I'm promoting Scotiabank. And I'm tagging you guys. Your name is going to go in there too. So if you are ever at a charity function, if you are ever at a business function with clients, if you post, I'm so excited to be here today at this charity event, church event, wherever you are, and you tag the other business into your post, you're no longer posting about you. You're posting about them. You just happen to be there. It's considered curated. It's interesting for other people to read because you're not just saying, I'm the best realtor in town. You're saying, I have partnered with someone to do something interesting, and you can post that. So when you put it all together, you find yourself a good source of information. You have Home Life for here. That's already writing posts for you. You have Cmhc, you have TREB, you have COREA, you have OREA, you have the Appraisal Institute of Canada, and you have every single event that you ever do. Okay? With your clients, with charity, etc. And then here, you have yourself. So when you keep this in mind, posting every day shouldn't be hard at all. Posting every day is important because that's how you stay on top of mind in social media. When you pick up the phone in the morning and you look at your LinkedIn feed or your Facebook feed or your WeChat feed, you see whatever happened last, right? If you didn't post in 2-3 days, it's going to take a very long time for me to go and find you. A lot of times people ask me, you didn't like my post, you didn't share my post. Where was your post? Oh, it was 4 days ago. I can't find that anymore. If it wasn't there yesterday, it's not there. Okay? If it was there yesterday, you know, I sometimes don't pick up my phone either, don't look at, you know, social media every day, so you miss things. But posting every day is important because even if they missed you one day, they won't miss you the next day, okay? Add your own voice. This is important from a social media selling perspective. So the specialists on social media, they say that if you're sharing an article or you're sharing a picture and you just hit share and don't say anything, it's not as effective as if you hit share and then you write a little note. Wonderful article about the change in interest rates. Have a good read. That's it. Or you copy and paste the title. Because to the reader, to your connections, it means you read it, you liked it, and I should read it because you said so. Remember the validation part? You are telling me it's a good read, so I will read it. But if you just share it, I don't even know if you opened it, or you just liked the picture. Okay? That's what that means. And consistency, obviously, is what we talked about. Posting every day is very important. Okay? So I have a last question for you on your phone, on the Kahoot. So, what is the best way to get clients to recommend your services? This is if you were listening. Okay? Take them out to dinner, ask them to post about you on social media, handing out 3 or 5 business cards, or offer your products and services for free. What do you think is the best way? What have you learned today? Or what do you think? You may have not been convinced. Excellent. Most of you believe me. That's good. So ask them to post about you on social media, absolutely. And handing out 3 or 5 business cards, I didn't ask you to stop. It's just a good addition to doing that already. Irving is up there. Okay, last question. Do you see value in adopting an active or passive social media strategy? What we learned today. Do you see value in it? Oh, thank you. Excellent. That means what I said actually made some sense today. That's good. So this is our leaderboard. Irving, where's Irving? Yay. Congratulations. You get pizza.
We all do.
You all get pizza. You can have extra. So thank you very much. I appreciate your time today. What I want to share with you with just one final screen. People like to connect with us, so please feel free to do that. Let me just get this going. In here, you can connect with me. I'm on LinkedIn and on Twitter. If you'd like to get information, you feel free to share anything I put out. That's 60% that you need to find some good articles for yourself. Feel free to do that. And any other questions you may have about CMHC, etc., you can either connect with me, but please connect with your friends from Scotiabank. They are definitely your closest partners here.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you. So I'm just going to take a couple minutes and then we'll introduce the room. So thank you, everybody. I hope you all found that interesting. Yes?
Yes.
Yes. Good information to share, right? It's nice to get some statistics and so Liru and I think pizza's going to be here around 11:30.
Yep.
Yeah. So what I would ask is that if any of you do have any questions or anything and want to connect, without overwhelming Olga, what I would ask is that you reach out to Liru and Rong for any questions that you may have. And definitely they can assist you in locating any information that you might want to have. I know that Olga has quite a bit of a connection there happening, but we don't really want to overwhelm her too much. So basically, you know, we like to bring this value to you. We hope that you did find it valuable, and we look forward to partnering with you. How many of you in the room have worked with Rong or Liru on any deals for mortgages? Anybody partnered with them? Ida? Yeah? Yeah? Good? 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 And if you're here today, am I to assume that the experience was good? All good? Good. Yes? Yes. So without holding up any further, I'm going to have Rong and Liru come up to the front, and they will do their presentation and add some further value to you. Okay. I guess when the pizza arrives, are we gonna kind of interrupt or
I will take care of that and just probably
put it out and then have them? I just don't want to go too far past it. Okay. Thank you, Rong. Take it away.
Hi everyone, my name is Ron. I'm the from Scotiabank. I'm the home financing advisor. I just want to give the update for our policies. So the first one would be the new immigrant. For the new immigrant, if the customer come to Canada within 3 years of their first landing, we consider they're the newcomer. So how we verify this as the newcomer? We just see the landing paper to see what they did arrive, and also we can actually see the back of your PR card. So if the customer, they were student before and then they become a PR, they were in Canada 5 years, they just become a PR last year, we still consider as a PR. Or if the customer was a foreign worker before and then just become a PR within 3 years, we still consider as a new immigrant. So for the new immigrant, we don't need the income verification at all. So we don't need the customer to provide the pay stub. We don't need to contact to verify employment. As long as they are the PR, they are within 3 years, no income verification required. So the down payment, we have to see 35%. But for the 35% down payment, we don't like another bank. They want to see the down payment has to be in their account 30 days, 60 days, or even 90 days before application. What we can do is we can approve this deal first, and then we just need the customer to provide the down payment 30 days before closing. For example, if the closing is June 30, so if the customer can provide the down payment, like the funds can be wired in before the end of May, that's good enough.
Is that for the, must be in Scotiabank?
It doesn't, as long as in Canada, it could be in any other bank, should be fine. They just need to wire all funds in Canada 30 days before closing. That's our requirement. And what we need is, when we do the application, we just want to make sure customer has a 1 year's principal tax payment and also principal interest and tax payment in their account. So we're going to calculate how much funds we need for the application. Customer just need to have the funds, and then we approve this deal. And then before closing, customer need to wire the remaining down payment into their account. And some of the I just got a few phone calls like a few days ago, and realtor contact me. Oh, I have a newcomer, and they are like 65 years old. Is this going to be a problem? It's not a problem for Scotiabank. We don't have the age discrimination. So I just approved a deal 2 weeks ago. Customer is 83 years old. Bought a property for 1.5. Approved right away. So me and Lilu, our underwriter, we are commission based, and our underwriter are also commission based. So normally when you help customer buy this property, you put a financing condition for 5 days. What we can guarantee, 2 days or 3 days, we can approve this deal. If the customer don't have the down payment ready, they just need to wire the funds in 30 days before closing.
Excuse me, can you explain more on the PIT? If that means if the, for example, if the customer comes from China, is this a PIT come from China as well?
The PIT has to be in their account. We just need to see. But for the PIT, we don't need to see 30 days history. For example, if the customer buy a property, we calculate the PIT only require 50,000. We don't want a customer provide a 1 month bank statement to see every fund is there. We just want, if you are dealing with Scotiabank, you can go to your online banking, you can print out your online profile. I can see your name, today's date, you have the money in your account. That is good enough.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks.
So, question.
Yes.
Right now, a big concern is the appraisal. So what, and you said the 5 days, condition you can wait.
Yes. Well,
what
the
about the
good.
appraisal happen afterward?
So what we're gonna do is, normally you have a financing condition for 5 days. So once we approve this deal, the same day we order the appraisal. So appraisal, it will come back within 2 days or 3 days, which is always within the 5 business days financing condition. The good thing for our down payment requirement is, if the appraisal come back a little bit lower value, customer would have always enough time to prepare. They might just need to put a few more down payment, so it would have enough time for them to prepare.
Thank you.
Yes.
What is maximum amount?
Less than 1 million. There's no income verification at all. Yeah. and a customer contact me and says, oh, my customer already have the income, can I still use a newcomer program? Yes. If the customer is a newcomer, if they have good income, we can just use your regular income to qualify. We can qualify up to 80%. But if their income is not good enough to support the capacity, then we can use a newcomer program. Another program we have, very good one, is a non-resident program. So if the customer, they're the visitor of Canada, or we are considered as they are the non-resident. So what we need is they just need to make the 50% down payment, and we can borrow 50%. Up to the maximum loan amount is going to be $750,000. We don't need to verify any income. We don't like any other bank. You have to provide foreign income for us to verify. We don't need anything of that. And another very good feature for this program is for some of the customer, if they are Canadian citizen, but they don't live in Canada, they don't have a property in Canada, we can still use this program to qualify, which is non-resident. So the same, no income verification required. Do you have any questions for this program?
So you don't care if they have properties or mortgages overseas for somewhere?
We don't care. As long as that you don't have a property in Canada, you work overseas, you live overseas, that's good enough. Then we can use this program to qualify. And we can qualify up to 750, maximum is 50%.
Can you do a refinance for this?
For non-resident, no, we cannot do refinance.
Some guy just come back from China and he is Canadian, but work in China. Now he quit from China and back to Canada, just 1 month. So, but now he's trying to find a job. What's this kind of situation?
When we do the application, we have to do a credit check. If we see customer has so many credit cards, he's been using, he's very active, like in Canada. So we don't think it's he's going to work overseas. When we see their credit score is not active, and if they can provide, if the customer they provide some proof they are living overseas, they have a lease agreement, they have an employment letter, that should be good enough.
No job.
For this one,
There was no income in Canada.
yes. But we have to see customer need to have some paper says customer either live in overseas or customer work overseas.
If like the non-residents client has already had one property.
No.
Not for the
Yeah.
second.
This is only for the one. Only allow one. Yeah.
It's only 30 days to advance before closing for the funds in the account.
It's the same like the newcomer still. For the down payment, they have to be wired in 30 days before closing. The same like the newcomer program. Yes. Yes.
Do you have an alternative program like my friends? They are Canadian citizens working in U.S. So they do have high income. So is there an alternative that they can make less down payment?
Yes. So for the customer working in the States, we can actually use your income from the States because we can find your credit history from TransUnion. We can use your actual income to qualify. They are like a Canadian. They can qualify up to 80%. 80%, yes. Yes.
So a quick question for this visitors program, if they purchase the pre-construction, so how when they should be be able to actually apply?
We can apply now. We can approve now, and then
so there's
we can just approve the deal now, just waiting for closing, and we can lock the interest rate up to 18 months.
How many months?
We can lock the interest rate up to 18 months.
18 months.
18 months, yeah.
Okay.
So we can approve the deal today, and the closing is 2 years, 3 years after, it's okay. But just before closing, which is 120 days, 4 months before closing, we just need to repricing to get the proper rate for customer.
Okay, and the second question for the mortgage, actually, what's the specific actually the amortization term? 25 years.
For non-resident, the maximum amortization is 25 years. But for newcomer, for citizen, for PR, that is all 30 years amortization.
And also, how about the interest rate, is that treated the same as the Canadian, or they probably differently?
Interest rates are similar, very similar, yes. And also we have customer like they were international students before, so, and then they graduated, they find a job. So if they have a job, we can use their income to qualify. And we don't need the parents to be on title. They can borrow up to 65%. But normally for students, they don't have the down payment. So the 35 down payment could be gifted from their parents. How are we going to verify the 35 down payment? We just need to make a phone call to parents, say, Mom, is this your giving the funds to your sons to buy this property? No need to pay back? Mom says, okay, yes. So our job is done. Yeah. So 35 can be gifted from parents, and then parents doesn't need to be on title, but we have to use their actual income to qualify up to 65%.
But the condition for this one is they must have their work permits, right?
Yes, yes. So normally once they're graduated, the government give their more than 2 years like work permit. We can see they were students before, then they qualify for this program. If some of the customer, they came to Canada as foreign worker, we can still use their income to qualify, but 35% has to be in their account. Yeah. We have an updated program for self-employed customer. So effective April 12, we have this new program. For the business for sale program, we're gonna grow up their 50% of their actual income to qualify. So we verify their 2 years like income, and then we get their income, we're gonna increase by 15% to qualify. This change is much better than the previous one, because what we found, we used to have a business for sale program that we're gonna use a stated income for customer to qualify, but we found it's very hard for customer to qualify because a lot of the customer, they don't file your tax properly, so they don't even report a proper like business gross income. It's hard to qualify. For this change, is much better than ever before. We actually use your actual income and increase by 15% to qualify. This is a new change, effective April 12.
So regarding this, how many years? Is 2 years?
We always verify, like for business for sale, for commission-based, for contract, we always need to verify 2 years income. We have to make sure their income is very consistent. When we set up this mortgage, we don't just give you a conventional mortgage. We actually give you a collateral mortgage. We have this called Scotia Total Equity Plan. So when we approve your mortgage, we can approve up to 80% of the property value. And we give you set up a global limit in our system. And then you can always borrow against your property. I'll give you an example. If customer purchase property for 1 million, we can actually qualify up to 80%, so 800,000. So when we qualify for 800,000, we don't just give customer 800,000 mortgage. We set up a global limit in our system that is 800,000, which always going to belong to the customer. They can always borrow from 800,000. So normally for the beginning, when we set up the mortgage, you only have a 800,000 mortgage. The limit is 800,000. But what's going to happen is when you make your mortgage regular payment, or make your mortgage prepayment, your mortgage balance goes down. Let's say your mortgage balance becomes 700,000. And then the difference is between 800,000 to the mortgage balance, 800 to 700,000, which 10,000 differences. You can always borrow from the limit. How would you like to borrow? You can choose either take as a mortgage, you can either choose to take as a line of credit card, you can take as a credit card, you can take as an overdraft protection. So you can choose to have up to 11 different products. You can have 3 mortgages, you can have 3 lines of credit. So it's very flexible. If customer says, I need to borrow 50,000, I want to do some basement renovation, I want to take the lump sum, so we can set up a mortgage for 50,000. if the customer says, oh, I just want to do the renovation 50,000, but I want to give the contractor 10,000 deposit, and then I'll give them funds gradually. We can set up the line of credit card for 50,000, and then if you take out the 50,000 from your line of credit, you think the line of credit rate is so high, we can always switch line of credit into a mortgage for you. So it's very flexible. The most feature I like for this program is for some customer, if they keep buying property, keep buying their rental property, the best feature I like is called re-amortization to reduce the mortgage payment. I'll give you an example. If the customer has a mortgage for 300,000, their interest rate is 3.09. Every month they are paying $2,082. So the amortization is 15 years. And what we can do is for this program, we can extend your 15-year amortization to another 30 years. So if the same debt is 300,000, if we extend from 15 years to 30 years, their mortgage balance payment is going to become 1,076. So the difference is the monthly payment is going to be reduced by 806. Because we did this change, if the customer applies for new mortgage, the new mortgage approval limit will be increased by 150,000. We already take the stress test into the consideration. The customer's total debt is the same, 300,000. Because we extended longer time to pay out, that's why the monthly payment is different. So because they have less expense now, when they have the same level of income, they can qualify for higher for the new purchase. That's the benefit I like most for this one.
Scotia now allow the 30 years amortization, right?
We always have 30 years for home equity plan. Yeah, 30-year amortization. Do you have any questions? And for this program, we only register one amount. It's not like other bank. They give you a mortgage, they register one amount. They give you another line of credit, they register another amount. At the time we want to switch from one bank to another, if the customer wants to sell this property, if they register 3 products, they have to discharge for 3 products. Each one is going to be $320. For Scotiabank, we don't care how many products you take. You can take up to 11 different products. As long as you pay us whatever you owe to us, we're going to discharge just one time. Because everything is secured by your property. So anytime, if you do want to borrow money from your home equity plan, we don't need to do any application. We don't need to verify any income. We just need you or the co-borrower go to branch to sign. You get the product. And even one day, you pay out the entire 800,000. You can still borrow up to 800,000. We're never going to question you. What is the purpose you want to borrow the funds? So it's very simple and straightforward. It's going to benefit for customers' investment for the long term. Even a lot of customers, they prefer to borrow the 20% from your principal, and then for the down payment and whatever the difference is, 80% they can borrow from their rental property. Because the interest rate you're getting from your principal as a borrowing investment purchase, you can always offset from your rental income. Do you have any questions so far?
I have a question. The social Scotia total equity plan, is this still based on the income of the borrower?
Like, no, for let's say for PR, for newcomer, we can set up the limit up to 65% because we lend to customer up to 65%. So the limit is going to be the 65%. If the customer use income, if their income is good, we can qualify up to 80%. So we're going to set up the limit for 80%.
But the last one you mentioned is still based on the income rate, up to 80%.
Up to 80, yes. But for newcomer, if the newcomer has income, we can just use the income to qualify. If their income is good, we can actually borrow up to 80%. Yeah. I'm gonna give this stage to Lilu. She's gonna discuss our investment property. Okay.
So, yeah, I'm going to talk about the rental property. Just before that, I want to tell you, just recently,
customer phoned me and said, oh, between me and my wife, we make $200,000. We have a house which is worth about $1 million, and then my mortgage is already $2,900. But we want to rent this out. We want to move into a bigger house. And then do you think I can get a mortgage? I said sure. So we calculated on the phone for like a good 30 minutes, 40 minutes, and I said, okay, let's see each other. Bring me the documents. So in the afternoon, we met. So we sat in the office, and then I can see he was just holding on to the documents really tight. And he was, when I watch movie, I like to see the details. And when he was sitting across me, he doesn't sit like just straight like this. He sit like this, holding the documents. I said, okay, give me the documents. And then his face is like, he still doesn't feel like to give it to me. I said, do you still have questions? He said, I'm just not sure. I have asked 5, 6 other people, and they all said it's impossible, and you said it's possible. Is that true? And I said, I don't know how to convince you. Oh, my boss is there, but I still have to tell. I turned my computer over, and then I found our internal policy, and I said, could you please read it out loud for me? And he read it out loud about the investment property. And then he reluctantly gave me the documents. So how is that? Now, I like to do, let's do, before lunch, let's do a little grade 2 math. So for instance, this gentleman, between him and his wife, they make $200,000. Right? Can someone calculate for me $200,000 times 44%? How much is that? 88, right? Okay. Now, 88. See, you didn't even use the calculator. Genius. Okay. So 88,000 divided by 12. It's just 7333, something like that, right? And then he said he's going to convert this existing home to a rental property. So then we say, okay, now you have rental income. So I asked, how much do you think it can be rented for? And he said, maybe it can be rented for $2,600, right? So then I said, okay, I cut that in half. And how much is that? That much I know. Okay. So I count that as your income. And then your mortgage, you said the mortgage is $2,900, right? So 1300 minus 2,000, so now, okay, this, you need a little grade 1 in junior high, right? So that's minus 1600, right? And then you said, then I asked, how much is the new property? How much is the property tax? What's the last one? This one? So 50% of your rental income minus your mortgage. So this is your, I say, okay, this is your responsibility for your existing home, which you're going to rent it out. So, okay, I'll keep this in mind. So this is your liability. Now, the new home, I said, how much do you think the property tax will be? And the guy said, it's roughly $8,000 a year. So 8,000 divided by 12, how much is that? Is it six? I think it's 6 something.
Six. Yeah.
I'm a genius. Okay. So this is your property tax, right?
8,000.
8,000 divided by 12.
So where is the house?
Oh yeah, the house will be like a. No, okay. Oh, I just got this house. I just got the house 2.3 million, and then the property tax is 8,000. So that also for that house, they want to do 1.5 million, and how much was? I think let's say 6,000. $1.5 million house, 6,000 tax. Does that make sense? Makes sense, right? So 6 divided.
So 1.5 million rental should be higher.
No, that's the same.
So this is the house. This is the existing house. This is the existing house.
Yeah.
Would depend on the location also.
Yeah, so he's just estimating. He said, I haven't rented it out yet. I just estimate. I rented for this much, 2,600. And you always want to be conservative, right? You don't want to like exaggerate. So now this is the new house. Now we come to the new house. Property tax 6,000 for a $1.5 million house. So that's 500 a month, right? $500 a month. And then I said, okay, how much is, what's the square footage? 1.5 million, what's the square footage? 3,000? Okay, 3,000 square footage. I would say, now we calculate the heating cost. We usually just say 5 cents of each square foot. So 5 cents each square foot, that's $150. That much I know. So now these are liabilities. This is your liability. You have to pay property tax. You have to pay the heating costs, and don't forget you have liability for the rent potentially rental property. So who can add this up for me? 1,600, 500 plus 150. 225? Is that? 2250, right? Okay. Now. Can I, wait, okay. Okay. I'll wipe this out. Okay, now, I have the capacity of paying of 7,300, right? Now my liability here is 2250. Okay, so who can calculate this for me? This minus this. This 5083, right? Okay, now, can someone go to your phone and then you go to Google and then search for Scotiabank mortgage calculator.